I'm here.
Okay.
On the minutes that I sent out, I forgot to add in the dollar amount for the abatements, so I corrected that and resent it out to you guys. But, I just wrote it in on the printed copy that I gave you guys, so it is fixed.
Okay, it's 10 o'clock. We'll call it to order. Let's stand and say the flags for. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There are no correspondence except personal mail to the commissioners. We'll look at the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions?
I don't have any. Alexis, do you have anything?
I don't see anything. I'm just finishing up the last paragraph here. I don't really see anything. I move to approve the minutes from April 15th, 2019.
I'll second.
Been moved and second to approve the minutes of April 15th, 2019. Any discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries. Don, did you have any additional stuff for us today? Or?
No.
Okay.
I think I said everything
have scheduled 2 interviews for tomorrow, right?
Yes, Tuesday, and I think I sent each of you guys a message about that.
Are you
1
gonna?
and 2:30, right?
Okay.
1 and 2:30?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought, yeah.
Okay. I have an appointment at 3 o'clock here in Lincoln, so I may have to leave early. But I need to keep. Are you going to be present tomorrow, Alexis?
I am not. I'm going to call in again.
We need to talk about the job offer we made to Human Resources, and I do not feel comfortable doing that with you on the phone. I think you need to be present, and I also think it needs to be an executive session. We're going to make an offer, redo that offer, so I guess...
Can we call a special meeting for Wednesday?
I cannot the rest of the week. I am committed to other activities. I know I am on Friday and Wednesday and probably Thursday too. I haven't quite got all that done, but Wednesday is definitely out. So whether we just wait till
What
next
about just
Monday.
doing it tomorrow, though? I mean, we've had our attorney on the phone for executive session.
Yeah, but that's a little different where he's in an office and he is bound legally. It makes me uncomfortable to hold executive sessions with open phones. I'm not comfortable doing that.
I understand your concern. I think the only issue is we're just discussing money, which is going to become a public record anyhow, but that's okay. We can do it next Monday, I guess, if you're
It
available.
won't become public record until we hire the person and establish the salary. That's what I'm saying, and I don't know that we want our negotiations out in public, or take a chance that they come out in public.
Our only other option would be to allow Dawn to make the proposal based on our own individual correspondence with Dawn. I mean, otherwise we can do it Monday.
I think we need to wait until we're all 3 in the room. That's my feeling. I think Dawn could call her and tell her that we were unable to meet as a team this week, and we will do it on Monday, the 29th.
Fine by me.
Fine with me, too.
Don, did you type up a salary proposal that you sent her or faxed her?
Yes, I did. Do you guys want a copy?
I think probably we ought to have a copy of that. I guess you could email it to Alexis and Randy, but I need a hard copy, please.
Yes, you can email me.
Yeah, me too, if you want to, Don.
The other thing, Alexis, is we had those board appointments. We had a couple volunteers. Do we want to move forward? I think it's
Yes,
important
I think
the
we
hospital
can.
board be appointed as quickly as possible.
Yes, and I did pick up the bylaws and read them last week, and we do not have to stick to any particular district distribution, and we did have the advertisement in the paper, so I think it's appropriate to assign, I honestly forget who the woman was. I believe it was a woman who wrote in and said she was interested, and the other ones who wrote in for their positions. I think it's fine if we move forward with those appointments.
I had someone come to me about the hospital board.
Well, we have 2 seats, so...
Oh, there are? Okay. Because I know we had one person volunteer to be on
Do
hospital.
we have 2 seats? No, I don't.
We have Jack Crispin's seat, I think just one.
Just one seat's open, right?
Yes.
I think just one, Alexis.
Oh, okay, then we'll have to talk, okay, so we have one letter from last week, and then you had someone approach you. Did they write anything down, Randy, or Mr. Lemon, I should say?
No, I know him personally, though, and in town, and you do too, and we all do. But I think we need to think about with them also.
Okay, so
I don't
then
know
I
if
would have them write in a letter for consideration since we have something in writing from the other applicants.
Okay, I'll tell them to do that.
Please.
Sure. I'll get with them this week and have them do that. The rest of them, I'm nothing against or no problem with. But, I had one person on the hospital, like I said, requesting the hospital board, so I'll have them write in a, request for that.
Okay, David is here. We'll just move on with David until we get sorted through these appointments. We need to visit with Don so we don't get doubled up here.
Okay.
Thank you for taking the time to see me.
Yes, David, welcome. We're not giving door prizes today, David, sorry.
And I was in hope.
You keep giving us paper though. Paper, and more paper.
I'd like to have you informed.
I know, that's good.
Again, I've handed you information pertaining to my activities since the last time I spoke to you on March, excuse me, 8th. On March 20th, I participated in a tabletop exercise with the Health Department, Lincoln County Hospital, Lincoln Park Manor, and the Home Health Agency from Lincoln Park Manor. The after-action report has been completed by the Health Department Administrator, and we are working on having an after-action meeting to discuss correctable items that came up through the exercise. With that, also, Russell County, Osborne County, and Osborne, Russell, and Ellsworth were also in the regional tabletop exercise. On Saturday, March 23rd, Lincoln County hosted a full-scale exercise with numerous agencies involved in checking the core capabilities of Lincoln County Hospital, Lincoln Park Manor, Lincoln Fire Department, and the EMS division here. We have completed the after-action meeting on Friday, April 12th with discussion on what changes can be corrected that were identified as gaps. Excuse me. On Tuesday, March 26th, I attended the North Central Regional Homeland Security meeting in Beloit. Topics of discussion were 4-year grant information, and again, not 4-year, but grant information pertaining to year 15, 16, 17, whatever, grant funding projects. Discussion of the light tower generator project was rolling into a message boards for each county. Would Lincoln County find it valuable and usable to have a light tower within the county? Once the piece of equipment has reached its warranty period, then the county assigned to that piece of equipment is responsible for upkeep and any monetary funding required to keep that piece of equipment operational. And again, that's a discussion that we can have. I don't have to know that information within this year, but that is coming down the road. Edna Cordner with the KHP gave information about the state preparedness report activity.
What is this light tower generator deal?
It's currently housed in the Barnard Fire Station. Again, it was Regional Homeland Security funded money. Again, a big generator on wheels.
Okay.
With a light tower that folds up and
Yeah,
can go
okay.
up and down.
So it's a portable,
light up a
it's
foot-
portable,
Yes, yes.
portable, okay.
Yes,
Okay,
and
that's
again,
what-
it came with a spider box and also a 100-foot extension cord
Okay.
to run off the
Yes,
generator.
all right, okay, that's what you're talking about.
Yes, sir. On Wednesday and Thursday, March 27th and 28th, I attended a full-scale exercise hosted by Kansas All Hazard Incident Management Team at Crisis City. I attended and got some of my task book completed, which once complete with exercise or real-life events, then I will be a deployable resource assigned to the Kansas All Hazard Incident Management Team. My specific position with the All Hazard Incident Management Team is as a safety officer. Thursday, April 4th, I attended the Wilson Lake Master Plan meeting with discussion pertaining to the lake and what the lake can improve for its infrastructure and things that would improve guests' overall usage of the facility and what they have to offer. Tuesday, April 9th, I attended CRMCS training with Sherry Salter from the Health Department to update training and usage of the state system for tracking resources. Comprehensive Resource Management and Credentialing System is what the CRMCS stands for. It is a resource management and situational awareness tool that combines many systems to increase effectiveness and efficiency of emergency services. At its core, it is an intelligent accountability system that allows responders to tag, track, and report on assets during incidents or pre-planned events. Wednesday, April 10th, there was a fire south of Lincoln in the area of a farmstead. I responded to this incident. Later in the evening, from 6:45 to 7 o'clock, I was on the radio and monitoring a storm that came in and left Lincoln County rapidly. However, there was no severe thunderstorm issued for Lincoln County. Tuesday, April 16th, I responded to an accident at the intersection of K-14 and 18, provided traffic control by assisting Under Sheriff Lawrence. This incident happened at 10:34 in the morning. Thursday, April 18th, I responded to a grass fire located at 2362 North 30th Road in the Hunter Fire District. Once I arrived on scene, there was a Hunter brush truck that had the fire under control on the levee where the source had reignited. Friday, April 19th, there was a page for Barnard Fire at 1:16 to respond to agency assist to a grass fire located in Mitchell County. At 1:24, there was a page for Beverly and Hunter to assist on the fire. At 1:40, Lincoln First Rural was paged, and at that point, I responded after stopping at the EMS station to get another case of water. Once en route, I communicated with the Denmark Fire Department chief and asked him to send a truck. While responding north on K-14, there was KDOT work going on, so I made the responding Lincoln units aware of the situation. While responding, I contacted the Mitchell County Emergency Manager and found out that he was in Oklahoma. He told me that he had spoke to his sheriff and that I would be arriving on scene and take over IC. Once arriving on scene, I communicated with the law enforcement officer from Mitchell County. I evaluated and gave directions for the responding directions on where to stage and actively fight the fire. Sunday, April 20th, Lincoln County was placed in a severe thunderstorm warning, and I was communicating with storm spotters on the phone and the radio until about 10:15 when the warning was lifted for Lincoln County. Coming up next Monday is the incident management class in the basement of Lincoln Park Manor from 1 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Today is the last day that you can sign up for that training. And then on Wednesday, May 22nd, from 1 to 2 at the Finch Theater is the Regional Mitigation Plan kickoff meeting with Mitchell, Ottawa, and Osborne counties also in attendance. And that concludes the activities that I've been participating in.
Going back to the Wilson Lake Master Plan meeting, was there anything that Lincoln County will, infrastructure that Lincoln County may need to address or do, or?
Not necessarily pertaining to. Discussion was had, again, with all the water that was recently deposited in North Dakota and on south and down the rivers, and the flooding incident in Nebraska. They talked that both Wilson and Tuttle Creek, the conservation level is up. Like Tuttle Creek is up 43 feet over conservation level. They're releasing water. And Wilson Lake is also up. They didn't give the number, but they had previously communicated with myself and with the Public Works Director about, hey, we're going to be releasing water. And that was when we were receiving all that rain, and the Saline River was already up, and there was just concern about it overflowing its banks, but that didn't happen. And just infrastructure as far as electrical usage, road improvement, overall guest services that they can communicate with to the public is how that was handled the whole meeting.
All right, thank you.
Yes, sir. At this time,
I guess
go ahead.
I'm wondering, have we established, like as far as your office hours, or we talked about start time and end time, and we also changed the status of your vehicle because we had read the statute pertaining to how we have been taxing, or I should say not taxing, as like a fringe benefit. So where are we in this process of realigning what the guidelines are for this department?
And again, pertaining to that, I would request to go into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss the job of David Dohe pursuant to KSA Works 75-4319 2B1 for the purpose of discussing personnel matters of non-elected personnel, to reconvene in the basement meeting room with just the Board of County Commissioners for a duration of 15 minutes to resume in the commission meeting room.
And David, I appreciate that, but I am uncomfortable holding executive sessions with one of the commissioners on the phone that we do not know if there's other people present. I think it's a matter that needs to certainly be confidential. And I guess maybe we could do this next week if you desire.
I will check my schedule And again,
But
I have that ICS
I am
class in the
I'm
afternoon.
very reluctant, and Alexis is aware of that my reluctance of doing that.
Okay,
If you could schedule yourself into next week's agenda, that may work.
all right. That's all I have for the commission.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Yep.
Are you OCCK? Is Kelly going to be with us, you think?
She had mentioned that she would see us, so I'm guessing maybe she's
Okay.
planning to be.
Since you're here, and we're running a little ahead, I'll go see if Kelly can come in, and we'll take care of it.
And while he's doing that, can I get your guys' names?
Sure, I'm Michel Griffin,
With one O or two?
and I am. MULLEN.
I'll take a small break too. We will.
Yeah, girls want, ladies want to come up to them. I'm sorry. I put a chair for you, Kelly.
Okay, it's up to you. Behind you a little bit. See how it's-
Okay. Randy must have stepped out a while.
He did.
Okay.
I needed a break.
Okay, all right. Okay. I'm Aljo Wallace.
Hi, Michelle Griffin.
Michelle.
Claire Mullen.
Clary.
Hi, Randy. Logan.
Hi,
Dudley.
Michelle.
Hi,
Claire. Nice to meet
And
you.
the other commissioner, Alexis Flew, is on the phone.
Hi, Alexis. Hi, Alexis.
Hi there.
I'll give her one, yeah. We'll put one of their cards in your pile, Alexis.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And did you receive these already as well? If not, the agreements and the specifications?
I think Kelly gave us a copy of that, yeah.
I'll just let you have those just in case, so.
Okay, thank you.
Sure. Well, I'll just kind of start from the beginning about how this came about, and then we can further go into discussion.
Yes, please.
I am the mobility manager for North Central Kansas. I work for the Coordinated Transit District, and Michelle's the transportation director for OCCK. And we have come about a very unique opportunity. Blue Cross and Blue Shield has agreed to sponsor bike sharing for North Central Kansas. That would include 8 communities currently: Salina, Minneapolis, Concordia, Belleville, Mankato, Beloit, Lincoln, Ellsworth. So we have decided to partner with a company called Zagster. They currently operate the bike share program that is in Wichita, but they are a nationwide company. They do regional bike sharing in the urban setting, but they've never done a regional bike share in the rural setting. So this would be a very unique opportunity, the first of its kind. So through this program, Zagster did a feasibility study for each community to kind of determine what they think would be the appropriate number of bikes to place in each community to kind of get the program started and to just really gauge and see the usage that could come about from this. So Lincoln was given the number of 5 bikes that they thought would be good to start out with for the community to see how it kind of goes. So with this program, OCCK would be the kind of just the operating business of it, but Zagster does all of the maintenance. They come out, they maintenance every bike every 2 weeks. So how this would work is the individual would have their smartphone, they download an app on their phone and put their information. Each bike has GPS on it. It's actually locked into the bike rack until the individual puts the code that's on the back of the bike into the app, and then it gives them a code back to release the bike. They are charged a fee. There's a couple different options that they can do. It's pay as you go. They can also do an annual membership, and then there's also discounted rates for students. So unless the individual does not return the bike, then they continue to be charged. The reason that we chose to go with Backstrom was because we didn't want bikes just being thrown places. We wanted it to be required that people return these bikes. We did it for the cities specifically because we want your communities to continue to look nice. We don't want bikes just thrown places. We didn't want the cities to be held responsible for any of that. So by going this way, it makes people have to return them back to the rack. We are kind of looking at a launch date right now of June 1st. We already have approval from Concordia. City Council signed the agreement last Wednesday. We present to Salina today and are very confident. The city manager has already stated that he sees this no problem. We also present to Belleville tonight, same situation. Their council is very excited. Beloit, they aren't even presenting to their council. They already kind of had this in their plans. So the city manager already has the approval to go ahead and sign and move forward with the rack locations. And then Minneapolis, Mankato, and Ellsworth, their meetings aren't until next month, but they're very confident and excited about the program. So in your packet, there's a spec of what the bike rack looks like, the sizing and dimensions. It's the very last page. So you would be getting a 6-rack station. The reason for that is they always, if you were to get bikes, additional bikes later down the road, there would be options, say somebody takes a bike from one rack and goes to the other rack and wants to return it, there's always additional space to place the bike rack. But we need a flat concrete surface. After discussions with Kelly, we kind of came about the decision that we felt that the county courthouse was the best location to place it, very visible, able to ride on the sidewalk. But unfortunately, there's no extra concrete space here. So I believe, Kelly, you said that there's a grant opportunity, correct?
Yeah,
Can you kind of speak about that?
I guess I kind of thought that,
Yeah, come on.
depending on if you guys approve this or not, for paying for that, the Web Fund, their next meeting is Wednesday, so I thought maybe we could put in an application to the Web Fund for money for the concrete. I don't know if the county, if staff, if there's somebody within the highway department that could pour it and do it, if we got the money for the concrete, or if we
Can I
need
ask
to
a
pay to do
question?
that.
Is there a reason that the city park hasn't been considered?
I guess I thought about several different options, and I ran it by some people in town because I just didn't want this to be my decision of telling where to recommend. To me, the city park, although a natural fit, it's kind of out of the way. There has been vandalism issues in the past there. It's kind of dark. So I just kind of worry that it's out of sight, out of mind. And I just think for this, and this is just my opinion, but I just don't think that would be the best location. Having it somewhere downtown, somewhere visible, somewhere lighted, well lighted, will reduce, any chances of vandalism in that way. So.
I guess I'm just not in favor of the county shouldering the responsibility of what goes on the city, because you're saying the only bike station is going to be in the city of Lincoln, correct?
At this time, yes. That's not to say that there could be potential to put a rack, say, in Sylvan Grove down the road, or additional racks here, or whatever the case may be. This is just the beginning of it.
Do you think there's big enough demand in Lincoln for this?
I think you might be surprised. There's always that if you don't bring it, you don't know. There's also if people probably don't think that it would ever be an option to get it here, being that we are in rural communities.
Yeah.
So they don't ever ask for things like this.
Who buys the bicycles?
Blue Cross
Blue
pays
Cross
for
buys
all of that.
And what about vandalism?
Zagster
that
holds
could-
all liability insurance, so the city would not, city, county, nobody would be held responsible for that. Zagster,
So if they rent one of these bikes and crash it into a car, the county's not responsible?
No.
Or
the city.
Or
It's-
city.
It's the individual that is
Okay.
using the bike, they take it at their own risk.
okay.
Wasn't the master plan that was developed and we're considering adopting as a commission, weren't there trails that were associated with that, Kelly?
There's more at this point, kind of just loops. There's a loop around the city park here. There's a loop around in Sylvan Grove. Some sidewalk improvements in both Lincoln and Sylvan. We would love to get to a point where we have kind of a cross-county trail or bike route or something like that. But as a committee, we've kind of thought that's more of the long-range plan. So we haven't really got to that far yet. What we put together, that's what we'll be talking about, is more the trails for small loops.
Are these bikes like trail bikes or,
Yes, they have different speeds.
so they could ride out in the gravel country roads or in town both?
Yes.
Like a cross bike thing, okay.
But those trails are going to come straight to the park from the map, correct?
The one kind of loop that we have here in Lincoln is, yes, a loop around the park. But I guess I see somebody who's going to be renting a bike is probably going to want to do more than just do a 1 mile loop around the park for an
Well,
hour.
They could drive in the city of Lincoln, and it's
Yeah,
like
they can go.
like any other with a bicycle does.
I mean, obviously with Blue
Or
Cross,
whatever.
they're very much, they want this to be health, wellness aspect, but we understand it from a multimodal perspective and economic development. You could use this as a very good marketing tool, when you're having events or wanting to
For
pull.
tourism.
Right, tourism, things like that. To be able to say that you have this is I think, going to be a really key component in helping Lincoln move
I am,
forward and.
I am a little worried about vandalism though, because you're gonna have bikes sitting out right at night. And, kids or high school kids on a Friday night.
I understand
that,
that, but I mean, if you think about big cities that also have
Yeah,
this,
yeah.
and
They're okay.
right, I mean, Wichita started out with 100 bikes. Granted, I understand it's a very different setting, but even in the bad parts of Wichita, you still have those types of risks. You're going to have it no matter where you put it.
Do you have any idea what this would cost for that slab and setting this whole thing up?
So just for the slab, we've had to look at some other concrete for counties, and we're figuring it's roughly between $600 and $800 for the size of slab.
And that would be the county's expense?
If the grant
That-
does not go through, we would then ask if you would be willing
And that
to.
includes putting up these racks and all that
Right,
stuff?
there's no charge for that. It's
Okay.
all included in what Blue Cross is paying. The only thing that you would need it to supply is the concrete to be able to place it. Zagster's company, they contract individuals to maintenance these bikes, install the bikes, take care of them. So there's nothing that the city or county would have to do. That's the nice thing with it, is you're getting about $10,000 in free bikes, for free, basically, minus the concrete that we would need to place.
Oh, I think the idea is wonderful. I mean, when I moved to Kansas, all I had for a year was a bike, and I rode it, miles and miles of dirt road. I'm just not sold on the idea that it's the county's responsibility as much as it's the city's responsibility.
Sure.
Have you been to the city?
We have not. The problem is we were looking for areas that would have the space, the right of way, the area to place this, and we would love to place it just somewhere down on the street where there's already space, but there's not the adequate amount of space to place it without pouring concrete.
And I guess, you know, when they asked for recommendations on where to go, I mean, I kind of felt like, I didn't want to send them on a wild goose chase and have them talk to the city and, or here or whatever, so I kind of thought, well, this is, from my perspective and from some of the different people that I've talked to, from their perspective, which one's the best one, so, we've
Well, and
we
also,
kind of talked about different places, but the courthouse square, somewhere on the courthouse square seemed like the best place for it. So I recommended that they come here first.
and also I think these bikes are gonna be ridden outside of the city limits of Lincoln. Could be ridden all over the county, right?
Right.
So it is a county issue, I think, Alexis. Even if this slab is located in Lincoln possibly, it's not like they're only gonna be riding bikes in Lincoln City.
And I think the opportunity, you know, like I said, for Sylvan Grove or another area
Yeah.
to have additional bikes down the road. I mean,
But the lake,
Right.
the lake is where you should have them.
Right.
Cause that'd be where, that's more of a touristy thing.
Sure, and Blue Cross has been very open, they're very excited about this, to be able to offer something like this, and they're very open that, you know, down the road, they're open to adding additional bikes, adding additional counties. After Concordia announced that they were, you know, had signed off, we've already had other communities reach out and ask how they can be a part of this. So,
I'm not against the idea at all. I don't see how the park wouldn't be prime when you have people going to the park for recreation purposes, and we're trying to create an interlooping pattern of trails that would include the park. I don't see how that's really considered out of the way. I mean, if you're going to get on a bike, it's 3 more blocks to the park from the courthouse, but you know, that's my personal perspective. I take my kids to the park. So if I was going to get on a bike, it wouldn't be any different driving to the park than driving to the courthouse. And then, you know, you have people, I guess the idea is you have people coming to drive to park their cars to get on the bike if it's going to be people from out of town.
We so in Salina, we looked at many different places to put it, and what we're focusing on in Salina is connecting the first mile, last mile with our transit system. So that's kind of the perspective that we took with all of the counties, was how we could put it in a spot that makes sense for what you're talking about, personal use for health and wellness, but also how we could put it in a spot that would allow people to use it for a transportation option. So that's, I think, kind of how this conversation went, with having it in more of a downtown location that it would provide people an opportunity to use it for getting around town. The bikes do have baskets on them, so if they needed to do shopping or, you know, whatever errands they needed to run downtown, they could do that. But then they could also use it at the park and do it. So it kind of fits in both locations. Helps us work on both of those, using it as transit and also using it for exercise, health and wellness, whatever. That's kind of what we were thinking.
What has Beloit decided? I mean, of the places
So
where they
they're
tended to
putting
it
one downtown,
downtown.
and then they are considering putting one, at NCK on their campus.
Okay.
That's their second option, and they're still talking about another location, because they have so many different ideas of where they want to put it. But I know that the downtown is for sure one of their locations. So, and that's kind of how it.
What rates are going to be charged?
So we're still negotiating that, but we understand that with it being in a rural setting, we need to make it very, very reasonable so that people will use it. So we're looking at roughly $1, you know, to $3.
You have to have a smartphone to use them.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, is the idea to encourage like a less carbon footprint transportation? Because I assume if you can afford a smartphone, you probably have another mode of transportation.
I think there's a lot of ways that you can look at it. So yes, that could be one. The other is just adding another transportation option here in Lincoln for people that might need one.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, then the third option, of course, is, you know, the tourist part. The fourth option is health and wellness for people. I mean, there's a lot of different ways that you can look at this.
I'm not against it, I think it's a good idea, where to put it is the issue, I think, here. The park would be good, but I kinda agree with Kelly that we're, I don't know, by the old, Boy Scout cabin, but that's out of the way, and that'd be easily to be vandalized at night. But where was you, if you would want to do it here at the courthouse, where, right out front here, or what?
Probably not right out front, but I was kind of thinking down here, this corner, might be a good spot. You know, there's a big tree there, you've got
Are you talking about the southwest corner?
yes, southwest corner.
Okay.
So I know you've got the memorial there, and there's kind of a tree there, but I thought maybe if you're kind of
And that
on the
would
other
be,
side of that tree.
that would be
but-
in public eye a lot, and a lot of lighted, so
Yeah,
less vandalism opportunity.
yes,
Yeah.
and it's open.
Yes,
Are these bikes not locked in so nobody can steal them?
They are locked. You have to unlock it via the app. Once you input the code from the back of the bike into the app, then it gives you a code back that you enter into the bike, and then that's how it unlocks.
Is there any lighting down at the park that you could put a slab by the lighting there?
Well, I mean, there's a little bit, but the park is kind of dark. That's something that I've actually talked with the city about. You know, the bathroom, they have vandalism issues down there. 'Cause it's just
out of
it's
the way.
just kind of dark. I mean, there is a light there by I think by the parking lot, kind of cool
Yeah.
corner.
I agree, I think you put them
What
at the,
kind of vandalism are we experiencing? I haven't been reading about this. What kind of vandalism is it, and how often? I mean, is this a problem that should be addressed? That sounds scary.
No, I mean, I don't think it's anything major, and I don't know all the details. I just know that the city, it's something that they struggle with.
Well, have there been arrests made?
No, I don't know. I don't think there's cameras or anything down there.
well, Alexis, the park is where, for years here in Lincoln, kids go down, high school kids primarily, and I don't know if they still do as much, but it's dark, it's out of the way. And you're gonna set them up for vandalism down there, because first thing they're gonna see is them new bikes. And, somebody's gonna mess with them, cause it's my opinion, that's just human nature for kids drinking and stuff like that, that's happening. But so if you take the opportunity and don't put it in front of them, and put them in a lighted area downtown, you're not gonna have that problem, in my opinion. Alexis, I agree, I like the park too. Nothing against the park, I just think you're opening yourself up for more problems. And I don't think we have that bad a vandalism problem, but if you don't wanna give them ammunition to create vandalism.
Well, I certainly don't want the vandalism happening on the courthouse lawn.
I don't think that would as much, because it's right in town, a lot more people, a lot more cars, a lot more lighting. And of course it could, anything can always happen, but out that park is where, is where people are partying and stuff, and anytime you get that going on, you're gonna have that happen. Or more likely to. Cindy, you got an issue, question?
We do have the swimming pool down there and the baseball park and the tennis courts, so to me, maybe the issue is finding that we need to have more activity, lighting and things in our park, so the park is used more, not at night by vandals or whatever that is. But there is parking and kids who leave their bikes at the baseball and at the swimming pool, the racks are there. But they're not with this program, which I think is a wonderful program. But I would like to see, we look at other issues at the park. We talked years ago about putting more sidewalks in, making it more accessible, and those things haven't happened.
Well, and that's part of this kind of master plan that we're talking about with the trails and sidewalks and bathroom
That
down
might be
there.
part to join in with that master plan to make it happen.
Because our plan is really that this program expands, and that next year we would be able to bring in another rack of 5 bikes for Lincoln, and I think if we chose to do it downtown, the park could definitely be on the list for doing it next year if we had some of those concerns alleviated, or whatever. I think the other reason why we talked about down here is because we're on such a tight time frame with this. We want to try to get this done by June 1, and maybe, those things that we needed to work on at the park, we're not going to be able to do before June, so.
My other question, is there multiple racks in these communities where I take a bike from this rack and I can deposit in another rack?
Right, so.
And then the time quits, and then when I want to go back from track, I can pick up the bike, so I'm not charged for all the time I'm there. But we're only talking about one rack here
At
in
this,
Lincoln.
right, at this time.
I can see that, our high school is quite a ways away, that it would be an option for kids that live in the downtown area to pick up a bike at the courthouse and ride to the high school and park their bike, but the way it is now, they would be charged all day, I
Right,
guess,
right.
so.
And
So
those
I
are
can
things
see,
to
I
look
can
at.
see a need for multiple racks,
Sure.
and I think even if we have a rack at the park as well as here, people can ride to the park, park their bike, or they can pick a bike up at the park, ride back uptown and park it, I guess, I think it's a good idea, but I think the big picture is that we need multiple racks eventually.
Yeah, that would be a long-term
Yeah,
goal for sure.
yeah.
And
No,
I
I-
think getting, if we could get the approval, get the first rack in, I think getting it here could also help kind of push the master plan forward. You can show that you've brought something new in, it's being used, it's being successful. This is proof why we need to move forward in getting these trails and connectivities between the communities, making it safer down in those areas, things like that. I think it would be a strong component that you could use to.
Now theoretically, they could rent one of these bikes and ride it from here to Beloit then and turn it in up there, is that right?
Theoretically, they could
Theoretically,
do
they
that.
could, but
Well, I was just wondering if that would be part of the, in other words, do these bikes have to come back to the Lincoln?
we don't have it set up that way, but I mean, we're really gonna try to push for now for you to keep them in your communities.
Yeah.
Especially so that your community can use your 5 bikes, we can show the growth. We will have access to reporting by going through Zagster. It will allow us to show who's using them, where they're being rode to, things like that, so that down the road with expansion and growth, we can say, okay, people are riding these bikes to this location very, very frequent. Maybe we need to put another rack here when we expand, things like that. So we'll be able to do that. Another thing is we'll be helping out with marketing. We'd love to hold different events here in the communities, do different things like that. So with the reporting software, we can acknowledge the people that are using it. I know that a lot of other programs that have this, they do a lot of different events and things like that and recognize the individuals that are, their top riders and things like that. So there's a lot that can be done with this in regards to that as well.
So I guess if we want the first rack to serve as a catalyst to prove the need, I am still wondering where would be the best location, because if the courthouse location is, if let's do positives and negatives, if the courthouse location positive is that it's more lighted and that it would be more available for transit use, then the negative is that it's not really somewhere someone's going to stop to use it for a family activity, like go on a bike ride with your teenagers, etc. I'm personally thinking that the people that are going to start using them first will be your health and wellness fitness people who would be using them at the park. That's me, because if I came to Lincoln and I was taking my young daughter on a bike ride, I would go to the park if I was going anywhere anyhow. So I don't know if we want the first rack to serve as a catalyst where the best location is. I don't live in Lincoln, so I can't tell you how many people need that kind of transportation. Maybe there are a lot of people that need bicycle transportation, but I see it more in Lincoln as an activity for fun.
And I see it as a tourist thing too. A lot of the people that are into biking already have their own bikes around Lincoln, so they're not gonna probably rent these. But your tourists may come here, come out, and then they ride around Lincoln or wherever. I think that's more practical.
Yes, and I would say the courthouse is easier to find for something like that.
Well,
if you're coming into town the other way, yeah.
But I agree with you too, I think the park would be a good place too. I only have the concern of the vandalism thing, but we could try it there in my opinion. I'm not against it, I mean, there's a
No,
lot of
I'm not against the idea at all. I think if we want it to take off, though, it should be very strategic. I am a person who would use a bike. I'm a person who's rented a bike in a city to get around in a large city. However, in Lincoln, whereas I live another town over, I come to Lincoln to go to the park. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, but you're,
Maybe I could be totally wrong. Maybe there are quite a few people in Lincoln that want bicycle transportation to shop up and down Main Street. I don't know.
I don't either. That's a good question.
The two Airbnb people downtown here have said that, you know, they've had questions before in terms of if there's a place to get a bike, rent a bike, you know, having the Airbnbs, the coffee shop, you know, if you've got a basket, so, you know, they can do some errands, so in a way, I think they would probably, those kind of people would probably be looking at it more out of downtown as opposed to going to the park to get one.
Well,
I mean, I could be wrong.
Is this something that economic development would fund the pouring of the concrete for?
I can ask them, I guess, so in terms of the money for the concrete, the web fund has, their next meeting is Wednesday, so I thought we could put in an application for that. And then also the Post Rock Community Foundation, their deadline here is coming up in a week too. So both of those, in terms of funding, seem like good opportunities. I have not asked my board if they would be willing to fund it. You know, I guess I thought we could try those two sources first. But, you know, we need to have the place for it determined.
Yeah.
So.
What do you think, Aljo? Where would you?
Well, I think that visibility, and it needs to be at the courthouse. I think the opportunity for it to be used, as she said, with residents staying at those places, they're the ones that are probably going to be the first ones. We do have some historical sites in this town, and it could be a Klein house or get around to those various places to see those things. So I guess I have no problem with putting it at the courthouse, but I strongly think we need to think about putting more racks in so these bicycles can be moved throughout the city. You know, and put one down at the park eventually. I think it's going to be a good idea, but I think to get it started, I think it's not going to be the locals so much as using it. I think it's going to be the people that are coming into town to visit, and they're going to be staying downtown, and those are available, will be seen, and I have no problem with allowing the concrete to be poured, and I think Kelly has some good ideas of how we can get the money. So.
Well, I'd just like to suggest that we approve the actual final location, like where they're going to stake it out. I think we do need to look at that and consider anything that might have to do with our maintenance. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, I think we will want to know where the site is, but I think we have plenty of room. That's not a problem. We can, once that we approve this, I think we can determine the place that it's going to be after we stake it out, see it staked out.
That's my only request for it being placed at the courthouse.
Yeah, and we can finalize that, I guess, if we at least know it can be on this property.
It's hard to get very specific right now at a designated place.
Right.
But we can approve this and then get really specific
Yes,
about
and say,
that. Yeah.
if you'd be willing to say that yes, we would allow it on the courthouse, we can always come back at a later time, set up another meeting, and then go and.
Show you the site.
Right.
Or ask if that's what's good for everyone.
And then Kelly and I can work on the funding and get that figured out on it.
I would entertain a motion to go ahead and agree to have a bike rack placed on the courthouse square somewhere.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that do you want this license signed?
You can review it and
Okay,
then if you just want to have Kelly email it.
Sure, yeah,
with
I would
signs.
appreciate the attorney to look at it, make sure it's.
Yes, that's totally fine. And then, we'll sign our part and get you a copy back.
Okay, all right. You understand that, Alexis? That we're going to, okay.
They gave us a license in writing here.
Any other questions before we vote? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion is carried. Thank you for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're very excited about this.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Nice to
you
meet
too.
you.
Alexa, go ahead.
Wanda is here, Alexis, so I think we'll just go ahead and take her because she probably wants to get back on the road.
Sure.
Morning, Wanda.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm good. I have killed some trees for you this morning.
Well, I'm sure you did.
Yeah, there's one to start with.
I'll
Are you
put-
making a pile for her?
Yeah, I got a
Okay.
pile for you, Alexis, here.
Okay. There you go. Oops, I'll come up. There you go.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm here with, well, let me start out by saying I'm not asking for any money. Is that a good
You
way
know
to
better.
start?
You know me, don't you?
That's the right
I've
way to
told you
start,
before.
isn't it? Okay. I'm here with the FY20 comprehensive plans for community corrections, the adult and juvenile plan. Let's start with this funding allocation comparison sheet. It just shows you how many dollars we've, well, let me back up. For the comprehensive plans, the Department of Corrections always tells us this is your allocation figure based on the funding formula, and that's based on how many offenders we have on probation and some other things. So for the correctional services and the DUI funds, that's the amount that they told us to write the grant for, and also on the juvenile allocation, which the juvenile allocation has not changed. The adult allocation, we received less, $7,907.99. So we took a cut on the adult side. The behavioral health grant is another adult grant we wrote, and then the reinvestment grant. Those are grants that are more program focused. That's the things they will pay for. They tell you what kind of programs you can run, and then you pick and choose and decide what works in your district. Now those amounts, we wrote the grants for those amounts on the sheet. They will come in and scale that back because they've done that. We've gotten it several years, and they scale back some things. So we're pretty confident. I mean, we've been getting those for the last 4 years, behavioral health. So they like what we're offering. It's a cognitive program that we're offering in that. So as far as any changes for FY20, staffing remains the same. The cut on the adult side that we're having to deal with is primarily through some office expenses, training funds, things like that. So we did not have to lay anyone off. We're being able to keep the same staff that we have. And then as far as program changes in the behavioral health grant, we've put in we want to pilot a program for a group of offenders that are female, a trauma type counseling. We would contract with 2 local providers, and then we would transport offenders in from the other counties. That's the behavioral health grant, that does cover transportation costs. You know, we have a really hard time running groups and programs in all 6 counties because we don't have the numbers. And some of the groups, in order to have fidelity of the group, you have to have so many members in the group. So
May I interrupt you?
Sure.
My question is, does your program utilize any of the county bus services?
When the schedule allows, they use now I'm not certain exactly what you have in Lincoln County, but I know like the 81, the bus that goes on the 81 route, offenders will use that, and we've purchased punch cards for that in the past. But if the offender cannot get to a program, get to treatment, get to a cognitive program, we have county part-time drivers that we put in the county vehicle, and that way they can transport those offenders. And so when we run the groups, we do the same.
So are your groups in the evenings, or are they all day?
Some are in the evening. Some of the counseling that they go to at mental health centers or in Salina, they would have to go to Central Kansas Foundation or Central Kansas Mental Health, or all of our sex offender treatment is in Salina. Those are most of those are daytime hours. So, you know, it's a variety. As far as the schedule, the groups are. Our in-house groups are run in the evening. So, really there's not a lot of changes, except if we get that behavioral health grant to fund that trauma group, that would be something new. Otherwise, it's everything else that we've been doing in the past. So,
What's the reinvestment grant? What does that
That's for that's for juveniles, and that again is a programming grant. That's to cover our in-house cognitive programs that we offer. We offer 2 programs right now, and then we also have a mentoring piece where we have a staff person. She's part-time. She does the cognitive pieces with them, but also she organizes community service work projects in the various counties, and then she will go and supervise the kids. Actually, she's working right alongside them when they're doing the work.
Okay.
So, but that is just for the reinvestment grant. That's just for juveniles, and the behavioral health grant. That's just for adults.
Okay.
So I'm here today we need to get all 6 BOCCs to sign our, the grant. And we had an advisory board meeting last week, they approved it. And then your advisory board rep is, Jennifer O'Hare, she was at the meeting. And then the grants are actually due May 1st in Topeka, but we have to get around to all 6 BOCCs, so it takes 2 Mondays to do that. So I have the signature pages here.
Okay.
Are you the chair, Al?
No, actually Alexis is, but I'll be
Okay.
signing today.
Okay.
I would entertain a motion for the chair to sign the, I haven't got to read it. What is it called?
Well, there's 4.
There's 4 of them.
It's the FY20 Kansas Department of Corrections Comprehensive Plan grants for adult and juvenile, and then the behavioral health grant and the reinvestment grant.
Oh, okay. Did you get all that, Alexis?
I did.
Okay.
Okay. And I would entertain a motion to sign.
So moved, I'll make the motion to sign this.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Been moved and second that we will sign the grants or the papers for community corrections.
I do have a question. Is this a statutory obligation to have the Board of County Commissioners view or approve if they're going to be contributing to the funding?
Okay, it is. I'm not sure I understand the question. Is it required by statute that you sign the grants? Is that what you're asking me?
Yes.
Yes, it is required by statute as far as through the Community Corrections Act and how the money's downloaded to the counties through these grants. And we have a interlocal agreement with all 6 counties to provide one community corrections program for the 12th Judicial District, which encompasses all 6 counties. And so that's why it requires all 6 to sign it.
Okay, and I apologize because I am not physically present, but you just brought all that paperwork today.
No, I just brought the grants today. The interlocal agreements were signed back in probably 89, 90.
So you're asking for a continuation of that?
No, I'm just asking for that the grants be signed for the FY20 fiscal year. We have to write the grant.
Right, like you're statutorily obligated to get the Board of County Commissioners to sign to approve because we're actually approving your budget according to what we're viewing.
Right, you're approving the grants. Yeah, our advisory board approves, and then it comes to the 6 county commission.
So, and again, that's what you're handing us today is your budget?
Yes.
Okay, maybe in the future, it would be helpful to get the budget the week before the approval. And please don't be alarmed, I'm just going to abstain because I can't see it in front of me, if you understand.
Okay.
Any other questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain.
Motion carries.
Okay, and then on the second page.
Okay.
And there's Lincoln, spot for Lincoln
A
County.
Lincoln County, you want me to sign Lincoln, not somebody else?
Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. The reinvestment grant only has a signature for the host county, so that's why I'm not giving you that one, but it's for the other 3.
I'm just going to take this opportunity to get a civics lesson in here that by our approval, we are practicing home rule, which allows us to give permission to those who are going to be utilizing the tax money to do so in that way. And I think that's very interesting. I'm glad to hear that we are aware of the statutory obligation to do that, because as a commissioner in my first term, I'm learning that we do have these statutory obligations on many levels, and it's the mechanism that was set into place with our republic to be able to approve from the bottom up.
I signed 3 times.
Okay, that's
Is that
it.
right?
That's right. Don, do you want a copy of this, or do you want when we get all 6?
If you don't mind, if I could just get
Sure.
a copy of that now.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, I
Thank
appreciate it.
you, Wanda.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Okay,
Thank you for
Thank
your work.
you.
thank you, bye-bye.
Okay, we're,
Wanna take my 5
All right.
minutes? I'm gonna go get a bottle, I got a jug of water in my car, and forgot,
all right.
cause I got this cold, I can't.
We're on recess till Randy
Recess.
gets back.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, Michael, and, I'm sorry.
Tanner.
Tanner.
Yeah, you got it.
I'm sorry.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Hello.
Several updates for you this morning. Schneider Road gravel project is, all the gravel's been hauled, we just got a little bit of dressing up to finish it out with. OS 87's progressing along, I believe there's 11 working days left. I think they got guardrail and seed work and,
Some final grading and replacing the riprap.
yeah, so they should be close to being done on schedule, no problems there. OS 105, we're still very close on that. We just need to get the deck welded and surface material put in place and finish putting up our guardrail. This rain shower's kind of held us up from tearing things up, getting in and out of there, but not too much of a problem there. I did have a question on the 300th Road going south of Bison, if that has ever progressed to for a road closure.
Yeah, Don, where are we? Did you submit that stuff to or to Rhonda?
Yeah, and I think she sent me, I'll look.
Okay, yeah, we're moving on.
Gotcha.
Slowly but surely.
I understand, totally. I think you guys were made aware last week, since I wasn't here, that we had a little accident with our dozer. And give you guys an update on that. I believe it had some water. It was in the water 4 hours before we got it removed. There is some water in the transmission, we know that for sure. We're also checking all the other fluids, sending them in for analysis. And as of right now, it appears that the engine should be fine, no problem. I don't think it ever got underwater. Hydraulics and final drives are the other fluids that will be checked, and the antifreeze and everything else. You know, anything to be checked, we're going to check. And electronics have been checked out, and everything's good there. Foley's doing a pretty good job working with us on it, and K-Camp has been down and looked at it, and also visited with me and with Foley's. You know, potentially if there's anything down the future, potentially everybody's on the same page to understand what could cause what and the reasoning of. So.
Does K-Camp, would they help pay for this if there's problems, or?
Yeah, I believe they will. We'll submit a claim.
I didn't know how that worked with that.
Is the driver okay?
Yes. A little shook up, but yeah.
So am I to understand that because we didn't have, I mean, we know we had a resignation from the person who was doing it, we didn't have anyone else that was necessarily doing it at any particular frequency, correct? Is this like whoever can drive it, come work it today, or how was that the first day of operation since the last person who was driving resigned, or who's been operating this thing?
Gary Fuller's been operating it. He's, I think he had been operating it for 1 or 2 days. He's probably the one that's got the most experience on a track machine that we have employed with us. He worked at this.
Do we have anyone else that's driven it?
We've had people that have drove it, yes.
Like, do you have a project that they worked on that we could get an idea of, or
No,
we
they've just filled in the gravel pit once or twice over the years.
So who else is qualified? I'm wondering what we're doing as far as a permanent replacement here for that person, or how we're gonna approach that.
Well, we're advertising, and I hope we can find somebody.
So you're advertising for you want someone to operate a bulldozer?
I believe so, yes.
I didn't see the ad. Is that what it says in the ad?
Yes.
Okay.
So.
I understand it, I guess he was working on a side hill, but part of the ground collapsed under him or something.
It was super saturated and it gave way and slid the machine.
Yeah. That's over at that Sacco pit up there, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
we're all on the same page of why and how it happened, and that should never happen again. We're not even gonna work near it, and we're working on ways to remove the water from the situation, if there's a way to do it. If not, I guess we're just gonna go down as deep as we can to water, and I guess we'll just give up. There's a lot of good gravel below that water, a lot of good gravel.
That's where the gravel's good.
Well, maybe it'll dry up when it's.
I don't know. It's the only pit we have that takes on water like that, so it's a new situation for all of us. You know, ultimately, at the end of the day, and it's something I wanted to discuss with you guys, I know I was in earlier this year, and you guys requested me to get some information on a cost analysis on motor graders versus any other equipment and whatnot, and I just have not had time to get something like that put together. But you know, if we did have an excavator, that is something that we could use to remove that gravel. An excavator is also something that we could use on a lot of our bridge projects, because we just don't have the means for the reach and the mobility of not having a tracked excavator. And I think we've came a long ways with our engineering firm and the understanding and potentially the ability to be able to drive piling with the excavator if we had one. We did go down and visit with Ottawa County. They were not in favor of loaning us their machine to try it or driving pile in our county. But they did say if they do some pile driving, they would invite us over so myself and the engineer and bridge foreman or whatever could observe what's going on.
Did you say that was Ottawa?
That's correct.
On that gravel situation, I think there is some excellent gravel up north that is underwater, and I know that farmers, when they were building a bridge up there, got some excellent gravel by using an excavator they had there on the site to pull it out. So we are beginning to run out of surface gravel, so that may be something that we may want to be looking at steadily. And I'm glad to hear that there is a pit up there that Zaco may have, because I do know there is. I think there's some over in Barnard area that would lend themselves to that pretty easy.
You know, and it does make it more expensive.
Yeah,
but, you know, it's still a lot cheaper, and to me, it's still a better material than just putting rock on a road.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of counties that are jealous of the roads that we have based on the fact that we have
Something that binds.
great binding capabilities, and when it binds like that, it sheds water. You know, we might get slick and greasy during a slow rain or for the first year or so after it's installed, but when it's all said and done, I believe it's a almost inferior product around here. You know, sometimes we do have to add a little bit of expense to speed up the process of taking that slickness out of that clay by adding some quarry rock and stuff like that, but you know, it produces a pretty good road. But, you know, I guess that was my question, you know, is there any way that we would be able to potentially move on looking at a machine so we can achieve some of these goals, you know?
Am I to understand from what you just said, Michael, that you have been mixing quarried rock with the gravel pit gravel?
Not in the pit. Once it's on the road, we have had to do some of that.
Okay, so a few years ago when we talked about this, that wasn't really an option. So who has been implementing that strategy?
As far as putting the rock,
Who's choosing which rocks are going? You know, which rock substances are being put together and at what ratio, et cetera, et cetera.
we just go in with our belly dumps and 12-yarders, and we sugarcoat the top of the slick spots with the 1-inch roadstone from Quartzsite.
So who's coordinating the logistics for that? I'm assuming before it was Bob.
Either Bob or I, and right now it's me.
Well, the one issue I had before, remember about the clay gravel, and you're gonna have some clay and all gravel. It's just that we won't want to get a lot of it because some of them roads were terrible clay when they're sliming, and people get stuck in a gravel road out here in the middle of a gravel road with a 4-wheel drive. Now that's where we need more rock or more sand, something to stabilize that to begin with.
Correct.
Well, I don't know how you do that, or your guys or the road guys, but we need to fix
Well,
that.
Mr. Lohman, if I may address that, I've been given a lot of advice from quite a few people who have worked in, I'll just call it dirt work for lack of a better term. Those issues that we're having are base issues, road base issues, and what we need to do is take up about a foot or two of the overtop, the overlayment, and really order some larger rock that is, cut for that purpose, about 6-inch stone, not 1-inch stone to sprinkle on top. But we really need to dig up and re-secure some of those issues that we're having of base problem. The road base is what I'm referring to.
Are
So
you
there is a
talking-
way to do that.
Are you talking all roads when they get rebuilt, or just in the areas where we are having some spring issues due to the weather?
I'm talking about what Randy was just addressing. When you get those spots where everything on top has become so slick that the moisture soaks in and it retains it because of the density of the clay, then underneath you don't have a hard surface for which it needs to be able to congeal on top of. Then you get the ruts that are deeper than a truck tire, and that's happening on some of our main throughways because they're just changing, like you said, underwater springs. Maybe there wasn't a thick road surface in a particular area to begin with, a thick road base, I should say. So I'll give you the example of 120th in my area, one that a lot of people have had suggestions and have seen it and driven on it and been a part of its transition over the years. That is a prime example.
Yeah. No, I can understand doing it on a spot like a spring, but rebuilding every road with 6-inch base, I don't believe this county can afford that.
Well, that'd be extremely expensive if you're gonna.
No, Randy was talking about when you get stuck somewhere. That's not every road throughout the county.
Yeah, that's true, Alexis. There was just some issues, right, where it's bad, really bad in certain areas. You're gonna have a certain amount of clay everywhere, it's just the way it is. I know that, because it's gravel road, but it seems like in the last few years, because I was mail carrier out southeast, and it seemed to be worse in the last 5 years than before. Maybe it's because our quality of gravel wasn't as good, and that's probably true, but.
Well, it also has to do with the maintenance. Again, we need to have a little more of a routine system where we have expectations across the board, because we've had this conversation over and over where certain routes have held up better than others, and it has to do with technique of road service and making sure. I mean, Michael, are you checking if all of the drivers know how to read their grader? I forget what the mechanism is called, but when they check the actual angle, what's that called?
Slope meter, he said.
Yeah, I mean, are you checking that all of them are putting a certain crown, or you trying to have the expectation of achieving a goal that way?
When we rebuild a road, yes. You just, over
I'm
time.
just talking about regular maintenance, though, not building a road, but.
I understand what you're saying, but you lose crown over time, even through proper maintenance. It's going to happen.
That's not true. What you just said is not true.
All right then.
Let's move
You
on.
don't lose it with proper maintenance. You can't put those two terms together. That's an oxymoron.
Let's move on. What else do we have?
I would also like to request that Jesse Zacco, that has been filling in for me, receive at least $1 an hour more interim while he is helping me out.
I think we would need an exec session to discuss it, the employee, and with Alexis on the phone, I'm very reluctant to hold any executive session about an employee. I hope she will be here next Monday, and we will go into exec session to discuss that, but I do not want to discuss an employee in open session.
I will be in person next week.
What exactly is he doing, Michael, to help you?
He's doing a lot of work at keeping the crews moving, where they're going, and all the stuff they're doing.
Kind of a coordinator of what's going on then?
Yes.
And scheduling what needs to be done tomorrow and the next day? And
Yes.
prioritizing what needs to be done tomorrow and the next day?
Maybe not necessarily prioritizing, but him and I discussed the projects that we're working on, what needs done, and who we're gonna send
Is
where.
he wasn't a bridge crew guy, right?
Bridge foreman, yes.
So is he not doing that anymore?
No, he's doing some of that also.
So he's doing that and
That's
helping
correct.
you too?
That's correct.
Okay. So he's doing that much more work? Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
So is he putting in more than 40 hours?
I don't believe so. And if he is, it's not very much.
I don't have anything else.
Next, Michael, next thing.
And I know that Tanner is I'll let you go through your stuff, but just have one item here to make sure we get on.
office here, we talked about the landfill, potentially putting together a design for the whole lot. I went ahead and talked to our Wayne Stritchfield, he's kind of our landfill engineer. He put together a proposal to do this work, so I'll go through it real quick with you. So we broke it out into, let's see, 5 phases of work. The first phase is doing a topographic survey, so that tells us elevations and kind of the lay of the land. It looks like there's a boundary survey that was already completed by the last firm, so we wouldn't do a new boundary survey. Pretty much we go in, get our topographic survey, and use that for when we design the new cells or lay out the new cells. So that'd be the first phase. The second phase is the preliminary design of the future C and D cells. So that would take in the topographic survey and putting this all on plan sheets for you guys, laying out the cells, how everything would be laid out in the future. When this cell, gets close to being full, where would you build the next one? That would show all of this. So there's a phase for the preliminary design, and then also there's a phase for the final design. So KHE, I helped on another one of these projects. You give them a preliminary design, and they usually have 3 or 4 stages of comments. So that's what the preliminary design is for. And then the final design would be taking all those comments and developing our actual final design. And then that would get submitted with KHE, with you guys. It would be approved by KHE, so if they have any future regulations that would come up, you guys would be grandfathered in with an approved set of plans. And then once the final plans are done, then they're going to want a CQA plan. CQA stands for Construction Quality Assurance. So we'd have to do one of those before you can go out and dig a new cell.
Now, would you do that as we get ready to do one, we would do that? We don't do it all?
See, I think we would do it for the whole site, for the whole design.
Okay, so all of them would be?
Yeah.
Okay, quality, okay.
Yep. And then the last stage, so the landfill has to have an FOP, or facility operating plan. So we'd update your facility operating plan with the new drawings or the new plan for that. And if there's any additional services, that can be extra work.
Yeah.
So you're probably wondering about price. So each of these phases have been broke out with the price. So they total altogether, all 5 phases was $35,300. So I'll bring you these today. There's 2 copies. If you guys want to review them or move forward with it, it's up to you guys.
So would this be a year project, or is this a 2-year project?
It's going to take a while.
What you're saying is that it would encounter more than one budget year?
Yes. Yep. So we're just finishing up one in Clark County, another county that I act as a county engineer, and it's taken 2 years.
2 years.
Yep. So from when we started the survey, we actually just got the plans finalized. It took 2 years for that, and then we're going to work on the CQA plan and then updating the FOP.
So we're looking about 3 budget periods, probably.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So here's these. If you guys want to look in, sorry, probably should have sent them out before so you guys could look at them. If you guys want to review it, and then next month we can look at it more, just whatever you guys want to do.
I think,
Is there a
when
time
you come back
limit?
next month.
Is there a time limit on doing this? Or?
No, just once you sign the contract, then that would be our notice to proceed to begin the work. So we're not authorized to do any work or anything. So then we can make Alexis a copy if she wants one too.
You can also email that to me if it's electronic.
Okay. Yeah,
Instead of printing it, you can just email.
Okay. Yeah, I'll write that down here. Email proposal. Okay. Yeah, Alexis, I'll send that to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is that all you had, Tanner?
I had that, and then, do we wanna talk
I think we need to, yes.
about the repower and the wind farm?
Yes.
So they sent us some information on,
This is kind of brief, neither one of us had much time to really study it
Yes.
yet, but I wanted to get you guys in the loop and let you kind of know what they're looking at doing.
yeah, so it looks like they're planning on doing a repower, so replacing the blades, the hub, and did we ever get an answer on if they're gonna replace the nacelle?
Not yet.
Okay. So I actually do a lot of work with counties and road maintenance agreements. We actually have a repower going on in Barber County, and they went out and got a separate road maintenance agreement for this. And then they're having us do a pre-inspection of the roads, and then look at the structures, and then do a post-inspection. So the pre-inspection would be going and driving the roads, document the amount of gravel, roadway width, all that stuff, and then we'd actually take their component trucks and evaluate each of the structures. Sometimes these trucks get pretty heavy, and the structures won't allow it, so then we'd work with them on maybe replacing the structure. So and it's usually a good deal for the county to get their structure
They
replaced.
pay for it all.
Yeah, so then in the road maintenance agreement, we would write in that they would reimburse, any of our fees for that, so it'd be free to the county. And then also any attorney fees reviewing their agreements. And then the post-construction, once they get done, we pretty much drive the same routes, take pictures, document everything. And then if a road got all the gravel beat out of it, we would say, you need to go gravel this road. And then before we develop a list of a final acceptance list before they can actually turn everything back over to the county. So I can help with this. I didn't know if we wanted to use, the old agreements and put some language that we have used in the past into that. And then also, a lot of the counties get a decommissioning agreement. So I don't know if, since it's a repower, I don't know if we could work that into this.
What does that mean?
So a decommissioning, so so in like 30 years, so typically there's 3 agreements. There's a pilot agreement, the road maintenance, and a decommissioning agreement. And the decommissioning is what happens in 30 or 40 years when the wind turbine or the wind farm
When they wear
is
out.
yeah, they're not using it, they're all shut down. Well, counties don't want to have the eyesore, so then they come out and
I think there was one with the landlords, that they had to
Okay.
remove those.
Okay,
I think.
so
I'm just almost sure there is.
yeah, so that it may be covered in the land lease agreement.
Yeah. Now I'm not swear, but we talked about if they had to come down,
Okay.
that had to be taken, all that stuff had to be taken out and
Right.
removed and
Okay.
restored.
Then if it's covered in the land lease agreement, then sometimes they're touchy, they don't wanna share the leases, cause they may be a little bit
I know we
different for-
discussed it, but
Okay.
I don't know where that's at.
But as a county, we didn't have an agreement.
I don't think we as a county, I think that was with the landowners.
Okay, so it should be covered.
I think it is. Now, I wouldn't swear to it, but
Okay.
yeah. On these, when they're redoing these, are we seeing heavier equipment coming in?
So they're gonna bring in some cranes and then
But I mean, more than, is it,
Larger than.
has everything gotten larger since we built ours 20 years ago, or 10 years ago?
the nacelles are getting larger, yes.
Okay,
I think
that's
these were
that's what I'm
2.0
wondering, so-
megawatts, now they're up to like 3.2s.
So we're really going to need, our road agreement needs to be updated considerably because it is going to require more. Okay, that's what I'm,
More weight.
yeah.
And,
I don't think there's any doubt we have to have a road agreement.
Yes.
and you're gonna evaluate all of our roads to make sure they'll comply with this new weights and all that.
So that's usually a geotech. I'm a civil engineer, so usually that's up to them. So they may come in and some of the wind farms will put down like 4 inches of like a base material, like an SS5 or an AB3 material, so they can get their vehicles to the site. We don't do that. Some counties, I had one county that did write in that they will put in 4 inches of AB3 and SS5 on the roads, and they kind of made them do it, but it's kind of up to them. So
So somebody would be, making sure that we're covered here with them doing this, is what I'm asking, right? In other words, they're gonna bring in bigger equipment, bigger in the cells, you said, heavier stuff. So, you said we're gonna have to, not you as a civil engineer, but some other engineers gonna confirm that, everything's okay on our roads and stuff?
Yeah, it depends on the developer. Some of them do go out and do that, so they will put down that base material.
Because we don't want any, issue out there with
Right.
something happening.
Right, because they usually have, so I think these are gonna be Vestas turbines. So then Vestas has a contract with a transport company. And then, if they can't get the turbine to site, how I understand it, then they start back charging. So if a road blows out and they can't deliver these components the day that they're supposed to, then
Yeah.
they start back charging Enel, or the developer. So, yeah, it would be wise if they do that.
Okay,
We did have one other developer who just used the roads, and it got pretty nasty. We actually put a guy full-time on site to identify issues with the roads and make them fix it.
so we re-signed some contract here to approve all this stuff, that they can do that, is that what you're asking here, or telling them?
Yeah, and I'm pretty much just telling you, when the road maintenance agreement discussions come up, I'll help you.
Yeah.
And then I usually review documents for free, and just so you guys are
Is this just phase one they're redoing?
I think
Smoky 1 and 2.
both
Two?
phases.
Okay,
That's what it said.
okay,
You know, and their goal is to start doing some road upgrades coming Q3 of this year.
Yeah.
And actual start moving in equipment and materials for the repower Q1 of 2020.
Yep. Yep.
So, it's not too far off, so I wanted you guys to get in the loop on it, and
what, next year, right?
so, you know, we'd have to have an RMA in place prior to potentially July 1 of this year. But,
You know, there was a question about that when they take down the old blades and all that, that I think they're gonna cut them up and haul them off, right? Somebody around here was wanting to get one of the big blades, I think, and put in our park, or as like a landmark that we're a wind tower county or something. I wonder, do you guys coordinate with Vestas or whoever's doing this on what they're doing with that old material?
Typically, we don't.
Michael, do you? Could you find out if we could get one of them blades? Not me personally, but
potentially,
I
yeah.
think somebody was, Don didn't, I don't think you knew that, but I think there was
We can
a
do
Chamber of
some checking.
Commerce or somebody was asking me about that. One time to get one of them blades and put it out, I don't know, it's a landmark or something. I don't know if we wanna do that or not, but they were
Yeah,
asking.
there'd be some logistics there, but we
Okay.
can look into it for sure.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Email the project manager and
Okay.
mention it.
Yeah, see if we could get, and hauling it, I don't know how the heck you'd haul it. I guess you'd have to,
I don't think the county is interested in that
no.
myself.
No, we could pass it on to whoever's
Yeah.
wanting.
Yeah, pass it on to whoever wanted it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Aljo, I didn't mean the county would be involved in this, right?
Yeah, I know there'd be some expense in even relocating.
No, I don't think the county would be involved, it'd be a private thing, yeah. Okay, thanks.
But, you know, I have started conversation with them in a goal to find a green home for all those blades, and they're gonna recommend it, but to this date, there has not been any recycling done of any turbine blades in the US that I'm aware of. Everything I've researched and whatnot, and my goal is to hope that they're not sitting in a pasture somewhere, being an eyesore. And, we do have the ability to reject them from our landfill, so that is a no-brainer. We would not wanna take that on for our landfill. But, there's a lot of ways that it could happen, and I'd like to see them go someplace else and get recycled somehow.
Well, during one of our previous meetings, not maybe with you guys, but we had another, several months ago. Don, didn't we have somebody in here about, these blades being replaced and then,
Michael was.
I
but,
listened with you on it.
but then, I thought somebody was saying they cut them up and haul them off, the blades.
He said as part of the agreement with whoever repowers that will be required that they recycle them.
Okay,
That's their intention.
okay, okay. You did that, I'm sorry, Michael, yeah.
Okay, with
So,
that,
kinda got you guys in the loop on it
keep us in the
anyways.
loop, and certainly we probably will need a meeting with that group of people, whoever they are now. I never know for sure from one day to the next who's in charge out there.
And now,
And Al is still,
Operating.
Enel, yeah.
to the emails are coming. So,
but they have been very good in the past to meet with us and discuss problems with us.
so I think that's everything I had.
David Bell was in here on Jaguar. There's a bridge, that wooden bridge that we closed.
Yes.
He is wondering if there is a possibility to do something, I wouldn't say cheap, but yeah, that's what it is, cheap, but not cheap that it falls down. But I mean, that we could get rid of the bridge and
Expensive, reasonable.
low crossing or a tube or something. I'm not familiar with the drainage of it. That's something that you would have. I know that it's a big structure. It is not safe. And so I didn't know whether that's something that you could look in for, just kind of give us an idea of what one might have to do.
Yeah.
We know where we're at. You've been out and looked at it, it's been a year or two ago.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
a lot of the water gets diverted around that bridge anyway,
Uh-huh.
now.
See, we do have some other counties that are putting like a, cheaper option, doing like a low water crossing. They could pour a concrete slab and you drive some.
Bend it forward or something.
Yeah, you put a smaller pipe, so low flows, it goes under
Yeah.
but when it rains, it goes over for a little while. So you do a concrete slab with a head wall, and then you actually drive some sheet piling just so water can't undermine the structure. Lincoln County, we have a lot of deep structures, so if you do that, you gotta pull the road really far down.
Yeah,
So we'll go look at it.
okay. It's a flat area of the county.
Kind of
Okay.
flat,
Okay.
And the water is changing courses constantly.
yeah,
It's
Okay.
diverts all over.
it's about a 10 to 12 foot deep channel bank to bank.
Yeah,
So yeah, you're gonna cut back quite a ways,
yeah,
but if we do something like that, I think all landlords need to get on board and understand the consequences of a low water crossing.
yeah.
They are cheap to put in, but they're not cheap to maintain.
Yeah.
I will tell you that, unless you build them right the first time with sheet piling and concrete to a point to where every time water overtops it, you're not replacing all your material.
Yeah, yeah. I agree with you. I think
Could you
it has to be.
re-explain why they're not cheap to maintain? Could you re-explain that? I didn't hear exactly what you said there.
If you just try to use a earth and rock low water crossing in some of these high flow areas, the water will actually wash them away, and then you have to go back and replace material every time water overtops. And when that happens, it does tend to get kind of expensive over the years. During a drought period, they're cheap. You might go 5 years never having to do anything. But, you take what we call the Lou Meyer low water crossing out here southeast of town. We fixed it probably 5-6 times in the last year. We have the crossing into that washes out numerous times a year. And, we're talking a lot of maintenance. We got to haul equipment out there and we got to reclaim some of that, and sometimes we have to bring in other material.
And if there's water there, they get soft and they sink.
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that, Tanner, I think we'd like you to come up with a proposal on paper of what our options are and give us a spreadsheet of the specs, with an X deep channel and a Y span. Your option is V. Do you understand where I'm going with that?
So you would like a couple different options. So one being a low water crossing, and then one being probably a bridge-sized structure, and then costs for each of those.
Yeah, and I'm going further than, I'm glad Mr. Wallace brought this up with David Bell's concern for his bridge, but I'm going further than that. I was suggesting to the commission last week that we haven't been maybe utilizing your skills or giving you enough direction, and I would like to see us lead you in the direction where you can give us a standardized set of options so that when our bridge crew comes across a 10-foot channel on a 12-foot culvert that needs replaced, or even a bridge structure that could be reduced to that span with some sort of low water crossing, as you suggested earlier, pouring concrete, even if it means reshaping the grade of the road to enter into the bridge. I think you could probably, with your skill set, easily give us a spreadsheet of what those 3 options could be, as far as how big of a structure can we do this, as far as replacing something that is inadequate or obsolete with X, Y, or Z, including, the poured concrete, not necessarily just creating a natural low water crossing.
Okay. So typically, when we replace a structure, we run some sort of hydraulics on it. And so just to determine, what the existing structures are now, typically we like to get a 5 to 10 year storm through, like, one of the bridges. Yes. So each side is a little bit different. You gotta get the permits also. So like a low water crossing, if we want to move forward with that, usually I email Olive and Parks. We had one county.
Okay, I'll give you a better example. If Mr. Bell would like his bridge structure, which is, I guess it's under 20 feet because it's not listed on,
Right.
correct? Okay, so let's say it's 17 feet across, and you take the specs on that. Regardless of what you're going to do on that particular site, there has to be a way to find 3 or 4 similar bridges, so that when we're doing that particular work with our crew and we're ordering that particular material, we can do 3 to 4 at a time and not just do 1 at a time. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I think I'm starting to understand what you're asking. So like right now, I put together, like on this Off System 105, I put together, a plan sheet showing, a steel beam structure that we used, and Michael can use it, from span length 0 to 30 foot. So you're thinking maybe a plan sheet from 30 to 50 foot bridge, and then maybe a plan sheet for a low water crossing. And then
I mean, cost is always an issue, and it's going to be an issue. Government spending should be considered needing to be efficient, and we know that we're only going to get a certain amount of money at any given time, just like we were rejected for the last one that we applied for. So the issue is, what are we going to be able to do in-house with our own crews and with a numeric amount that we can purchase in materials to transition some of these obsolete, closed down bridges into something that's still usable? Because Mr. Bell's is just an example of an entire classification of problematic bridges that we have in our county.
okay. So then
Do you understand what I'm saying by
yeah,
that?
yeah. So then like on
We're not interested in the top end bid for replacing it the most expensive way. We need to know what our options are for this type of conversion. I'm going to use the word conversion from a bridge to some sort of crossing, and then we need to apply that. Say we have 3 options to do it. We need to apply those 3 options to any variety of those same issues in that same area at the same time.
So like if the average daily traffic's less than 50 people a day, when you get some other roads that are getting 250, those roads with the smaller traffic would then we do like a low water crossing.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, because there's a lot of little
Right.
bridges out here.
Right.
Some farmers,
Okay.
there might be only 2 farmers use one bridge
Right.
80% of the time because they're up in the middle of nowhere. And we want a cheaper way to do that.
So it's like
Impossible. I know you gotta comply with all your rules and regulations, it's safety, but if we could do that cheaper, that would be handy.
Okay.
Because a lot of those people they get very little traffic. Obviously, your main routes do,
Right.
but she's like this Day Bell one, I'll bet there isn't one vehicle go across that day
Okay.
on average.
But
Yeah.
that doesn't change the way that it has to meet standards
I know.
to make it passable.
Can't you
You
still
know,
make,
I
That's why
honestly,
we've hired an engineer to know what those standards are and to get an equation that works for us.
understand that, but I have almost a hard time believing that a low water crossing built properly is gonna be any cheaper than building a steel structure that we can do completely in-house.
Well, we'll just
Well,
have
that's
to
what the
see.
analysis will show.
Yeah, it will.
well, we'll have Tanner, you check in on us, right? If
Okay.
we could do them cheaper, maybe we should, maybe we can't, maybe Michael's right, I don't know.
And then like low water crossings, the main people that dictate that is like wildlife and parks. So if we had one county that went and just did a low water crossing, well, there's endangered species. So they actually were gonna get sued because they weren't allowing the fish to swim upstream. The low water crossings were actually preventing them from doing that. So that would be another thing I guess we'd have to look at is to see, what creeks have.
But like where this bridge is, that's like a little side creek. It's dry half the time.
Yeah,
Doesn't matter.
and that's
Well, but there's, you don't have your fish swimming upstream when it's
Yes, you do.
dry 90%
well,
of the time.
yeah. See, that's the fight that to be honest, I've been fighting wildlife and parks about that because
Well, yeah, they got a mud hole out here and they'll call that a pond and it's now endangered species,
Yeah,
right?
'cause
I know, it's insane.
They were making us bury a box a foot. Well, that just adds because you gotta make the box a foot taller, but the channel's dry. So I called and was like, "There's no fish in this channel. Why are we having to do this?"
There may be 10 years from now. Though.
They said, "Well, there may be some higher flows and push waters into the channel, and then those Arkansas daughters where we're fish, they like to spawn in the vegetated line bottoms. Well, when the waters come up, they're lined because they used to have grass, and so they like to spawn in those, and that's what their counter was."
Whatever.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, we just gotta follow.
You gotta follow the law.
Yeah, we gotta follow.
You gotta follow the law, yeah, what they comply with. I know that, you got to.
Yeah,
But-
so I'll look at the low water crossing option and maybe coming up with, if this is a minor collector, has less than 50 vehicles a day, we could do a low water crossing and it'd be this much.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Right.
If it's a major collector and it's got 100 vehicles a day, and it's 40 foot long, we could do this option.
Exactly.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay.
You got it.
Okay.
Yes.
I understand it now.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got it.
Okay. Yep. I
In
think
other words, if we can still comply with law, but do it cheaper, let's do it cheaper. And I'm not saying be cheap, but try to save us money, the county money.
Well, we also
should all
need
be
to
out for
know on
that.
paper where those standards exist because there is so much going on in the county that's out of our view, and we can't necessarily just keep doing one particular project at a time. We really need to look at a comprehensive plan, and you have the ability to structure that data into a spreadsheet that we can then start making some overall assessments.
Okay. Yeah, let me work on this, and it'll probably be, I'll try to get some kind of draft form
Okay,
for you guys to review, and then Michael's obviously his opinion,
sure.
and then maybe the bridge, Jesse's, okay. Yep.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You all have a
Thank
great
you.
weekend.
You too.
Don, this folder that you gave me, I pretty well screwed it up probably, so gonna need your help.
It's okay, it's simple.
You have what we don't have appointed and what needs to be appointed, and that's my problem.
Thank you. Let me look, I should be able to find it. Okay. I have that we have one position on Beverly Rural Fire, one position on First Rural Fire, Hunter Rural Fire has two, Sylvan Grove has two. Then the Lincoln County Repeater Board has three, the Hospital Board of Trustees has one, Transportation Bus has two, Crime Victims Restitution has one, Preservation Board has three, Children's Healthcare Endowment Fund, one, and Wind Power Economic Development Board, one.
the one on on
Or
web
independent,
is in
yeah.
3rd District, right?
Yes. I
And we,
believe that was Jason Joel.
yeah, and this one is 400 East Lincoln,
That's,
so that would be in Randy's
yeah, first district.
district.
Yes.
I have Crime Restitution Board, you have one,
Yes.
and I have one application. Okay, and you have one for Hospital Board, and Randy said that he had somebody contact him, so we'll have to wait on that one, right?
Yeah, I'll get a, written, request.
And did we appoint somebody to Delia Pittard?
Yes, you appointed Terry Heath.
All right, that one, okay, that's why you have these paper clipped in.
Yes.
Okay, they're taken care of.
Yes.
All right,
Now.
and I have 2 people that would like the first real fire, and that's all I have today.
So you have a first row fire and a crime victims restitution?
Yes. Charlie Newell has asked to be on the Crime Restitution Board. He wants to continue to serve. Do I have a motion to reappoint him? It's the only
So
one.
moved.
It's been moved to appoint, do we have a second?
So I'll second.
Moved to appoint Charlie Newell to Crime Restitution Board. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Where am I at? Oh, first row fire. Steve McReynolds has one. He was a volunteer fireman for first row fire and hit the retirement age, and so he's retired. He would like to be appointed to the first row fire, and I have one from Glenn Malum. Is that how you say that, Don? Malum. I'd like to submit my interest for the position of board member for the Lincoln County First Rural Fire District. I'd be interested in being a board member of the Lincoln County Repeater Board as well. Oh, as well as he's got lots of them. Crime Victims Restitution Board. I would suggest we put him on the Repeater Board and put Steve on the Fire District. Get rid of, we said we need 3 on the Repeater Board, don't we?
Yes. Now Glenn is an officer, but I can't see that there would be a conflict.
An officer at
Law enforcement officer.
He's a
law enforcement
He's
officer.
a deputy here.
So
Okay.
I don't see that there would be.
I would think that would work better for the Repeater Board than it would Lincoln Real Fire, because if he's on duty, well, I guess this isn't to respond to the fire. But.
No, it's just a.
You have any questions, Alexis?
What was the third thing? He had first row fire repair board and what?
Crimes Restitution Board, and we just got through pointing Charlie to that. I didn't notice that when I was looking through these. I just read the first line. I didn't read the rest of his sentence.
So, okay.
So
So you're suggesting repeater board?
I assess him for Repeater Board and McReynolds for First Real Fire. That would be my suggestions.
You don't think he should be on Crime Victims Restitution Board?
We already filled it.
Oh, it is?
Charlie.
Yeah.
We already appointed Charlie.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So when we're, Steve for the rural fire, I agree. I agree with Aljo.
That would be that would put one of them on each one.
I'll make a motion to,
Let's do one at a time.
okay, we'll do one at a time. I'll do a motion to nominate Steve McReynolds for the First Rural Fire District Board.
I second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
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 And there's that.
And and this is Mr. Glenn Malum. I agree with Aljo. I think too, we've already did the rural district and the Crime Victims Restitution Board, so I will nominate, make a motion to nominate Mr. Glenn Malum to the Lincoln County Repeater Board.
Second.
Second. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Who is this? Is that for the?
Oh, that's Webb. Weber for the hospital board, and that's, the wind power that she's not in the right district.
Aljo, you seconded that, right?
Alexis seconded the last one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
On these wind tower issues, you better get you an attorney in here and listen to this stuff, because I'm following this issue down in Reno County and southern Ellsworth, Rice County. There are issues that are coming up that are very serious. The wind tower companies are hiding issues. These wind towers are being put in areas where they're not allowed. There's a 3-mile radius around Cheney Lake. Wind tower company, oh no, we're not putting it in there. Well, they found them out, they said, oh yes, they're inside. This is a serious issue. You better get your legal attorney in here. I'm just suggesting, I ain't telling you what to do. But this is getting,
These are already there too, Norman. Those others are new ones they're trying to put in.
yes.
And they're having trouble in Marion County. The Marion County Commissioner has been in contact with me too. They're having trouble in Marion County with, if they become develop more, yes, I think you're right. We're going to need some answers, Norman, but these are basically upgrading them, I guess is what you're saying. They're already here, so. But we need a road agreement. We need to protect ourselves. We need to protect ourselves from the junk that may be from the old ones and things like that. But yeah, they are having some problems in establishing where those farms are supposed to be. I will
when
agree
you
with you.
repower this tower, that changes the structure of the contract.
Well, our contract, that's with the landowner. We don't have a contract for the tower. We're not zoned, so that lord can basically, or the landowner can basically do what he wants to. What we're interested in is our roads and our infrastructure that we have to be very careful for. And we're also interested in the tax consequences of those too, so.
This is a mess, fellas.
What isn't a mess in this world?
Well,
It's you. You're not a mess.
I take offense to that because you're on the same page as I am.
Okay.
I did forget one thing.
Oh, okay, Don. You're good.
The city of Lincoln is having their cleanup days today and tomorrow when they forgot to ask for permission to get free waiver for disposing at the landfill. So Heather called and asked if I would ask you guys that. Would you guys agree to dispose of stuff at the landfill
We have
for free?
done that in the past for the cities, haven't we?
Yes, every year.
I have a question. Do we do that? Is that policy for government entities is free? I know we've done like 501c3 nonprofit at a reduced rate.
Well, that's for the construction demolition, so that would be disposing of.
Like the CG pit. Okay.
Yeah.
This is just to take it up to the landfill.
Yes, basically they're picking up people's junk and taking it, or if
Clean
they
up.
have trash that they can't take, or furniture.
Right, but we are paying for that once it gets to Salina, correct?
Correct.
We pay for the load, Jim. It's a beautification.
It's always been in the past that they've waived the fees to governmental agencies to help their communities keep cleaned up.
Yeah. And we only do it once a year, don't we, Don?
Yes.
Usually. Yeah.
Do we do that for every town? Beverly, Barnard, all of them?
Yes.
Yes, we would.
Do you do that for country people too?
You already paid yours. When you paid your taxes.
So if we take a bunch in though, they don't charge extra?
No, we do if it's CD.
If it's CD stuff. But if it's stuff that's going to the landfill, no. You
No.
paid your fee when you paid your taxes.
So like if they take in, like, I know Ellsworth takes in tires and stuff.
Oh, well, tires are different.
Tires are extra.
Tires can't go to the landfill.
Well, they can, but they're
I was
charged.
gonna say they do.
No, I meant to the landfill in Salina.
Yeah.
They have to be disposed of different.
Right, and I don't think the city allows any tires.
Yeah,
to be
I don't-
picked up.
we don't
They
take-
normally don't pick up anything that we don't dispose of to residents for free. Occasionally they get a few painted boards and pallets.
Is the city picking it up for free and transporting it for free?
Yes,
Yes.
yes. So basically it's for those people that don't have vehicles to get their stuff out. So like there may be a couch that's been sitting on a street lot for months.
Right.
they go and they pick that up for them. And they sort it, and so like the white goods go into the metal pile and so on and so forth. But normally, most businesses, we charge to go across the scale.
But now, does the city property has already paid its property tax for the yearly landfill bill, correct?
Correct.
Well, then we really don't even need to approve it, right? Because they're basically, it's as if the trucks are delivering it instead of the person itself.
Yes.
Okay, so it's just a formality, really. Anyone could drop this stuff off for free.
Correct, but the city always asks, since it's them going across, and we build.
Yeah.
And it's all at one time, yeah, I understand, okay.
I think we just approve it.
Yes, I move to approve the,
You want a motion, or you want just approve it?
oh, we can just approve, that's fine.
I think you just said that commissioners give their blessing.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Well, Don, is that the last thing you thought of?
Yes.
Okay. And I haven't thought of anything either.
And so we're not having a special meeting, we're going to wait until Monday to reorganize our human resources offer.
Yes, I think so. And that time, maybe we will have to do an offer for EMS too as well.
Okay. Okay.
All
Thank
right.
you.
This commission stands adjourned until, well, I don't know what I'm gonna say, because we are gonna be here tomorrow, but it will only be interviews, it'll be closed session. So we will meet on Monday, the 29th, 10 o'clock. Thank you.
Dawn, don't forget that we have to give the notification of our meeting tomorrow, though.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
reminding me, because I might have not remembered that.
1 tomorrow, right? About
1 o'clock tomorrow, yes.
Right, okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Luke.